The Be More Healthy Expo kicks off this morning at 10 a.m. We are live inside the Baltimore Convention Center leading up to the opening ceremony. And former Governor Larry Hogan now throwing his hat in the ring for U.S. Senate, where he stands on the state's current crime legislation. That's coming up.
And I am tracking some chances for rain this weekend. I'll let you know exactly when the showers return to our area and when we are tracking some wet and windy weather in the week ahead, too, in a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Towson right now. It is 7 a.m. this Saturday, February 10th. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's get right to your forecast. A lot is going on today. Meteorologist Amy Aronson with an update of what we're expecting today.
Yes, some changes on the way. We enjoyed the 60s yesterday. We'll do it again today. The only issue is a new weather maker is starting to track its way into our area. You can see some showers associated with that well west of here right now. That's what's actually heading our direction by the afternoon. And that's the first in many rounds of showers headed our way over the next 3 days. At least the rain comes with some mild temperatures for today. Temperatures are well into the 50s just west of here. So that's also what's going to move in with that moisture by the afternoon. So if you're headed out maybe to join us all at the Be More Healthy Expo today, don't forget an umbrella, especially if you're headed out this afternoon. Right around midday, I think we'll see that batch of showers arrive in our area and then linger for a couple of hours. Otherwise, not a ton of sunshine out there today, but at least it's still going to be nice and mild. Low 60s ahead of us this afternoon. Now, it's not going to stay this warm all weekend long. I'll let you know exactly when these numbers return to normal and when we are tracking some more rain in the week ahead in 10 minutes. Taylor?
So I'm here today to support the changes that need to be made to the juvenile reform. We think there are some good changes. All the state's attorneys in the state are supporting this change, and we think it'll make the juvenile system better.
Lawmakers in Annapolis gathering again to review the Democrats' juvenile crime proposal. Now, for months, we've heard from prosecutors across Maryland who say the current juvenile justice laws need to change. Jeff Abel joins us with the key takeaways from the latest hearing.
A real tug of war is playing out here in the Senate today as senators decide whether those juvenile reforms passed 2 years ago need reforming themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Judicial Proceedings Committee.
We've seen gun crimes go up for kids over 220%.
Before a Senate committee today, state's attorneys describe the problem they can no longer prosecute.
The 12-year-old who walks into an Anne Arundel County school with a loaded gun, and all of a sudden we look at the law and we're like, oh, we can't do anything.
Members of the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee began considering Senate Bill 744, which rolls back many of the reforms the legislature passed 2 years ago. The bill allows juveniles under 13 to be prosecuted for certain firearm offenses, third-degree sexual abuse, animal abuse, and vehicular theft. It would also allow probation to be extended for juveniles from the current 6 months to 1 year.
And we're not rolling back everything in Senate Bill 744, but we're taking a look at some of the things we did and say, hey, this wasn't.
Balanced the budget and created a record surplus. Hogan says now he's tired of the toxic politics that's happening across the country, which in part he says is fueling his run for the U.S. Senate.
The politicians in Washington seem to be more interested in arguing than in actually getting anything done for the people they represent. Enough is enough.
Hogan's Senate race, says Dede, a potential major shakeup in a blue state.
It does shake up the race into the fact that most people consider this race a strong Democratic race where a Democrat would control, that basically a Democrat would win this race. Now, most people are rating it as likely Democrat, and that makes all the difference in the world.
At this time, a total of 7 Republicans have filed to enter the GOP primary. A wild scene out of Florida where a plane crash lands on a highway. The details after the break.
And I am tracking some rain showers this weekend, followed by wet and windy conditions come Monday. I'll let you know when we have our highest chance for rain in the weekend ahead and what that means for all your outdoor plans in a couple of minutes. It's 7:08. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Making headlines this morning, a crash landing kills 2 people in Florida. Police say Friday afternoon, a small aircraft was forced to crash land onto a Florida highway right near Naples. You can see that twin-engine jet burst into flames after colliding with a vehicle. It then slammed into a retaining wall. The FAA says 5 people were on board, but it's not immediately clear whether the 2 people killed were on the plane or in a vehicle. According to the Naples Airport Authority, the pilot did radio the tower about engine trouble before the plane lost contact. Right after the break, we're taking you live to the Be More Healthy Expo to find out what vendors will be offering and how one local university is using the event to raise awareness around a chronic illness. And later on this hour, as Governor Wes Moore outlines his crime plan for the state, one delegate is pushing a bill that would ensure Marylanders don't pay more taxes. We'll tell you more about the plan just ahead. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined. This Fox 45 News segment is sponsored by the University of Maryland Medical Center.
All right, the 15th annual Be More Healthy Expo gets underway at the Baltimore Convention Center in just a few hours. We're taking you live to that event as we welcome thousands of people there later today with endless opportunities to tackle your health. This morning, we're joined by Christine Krabs, the Senior Director of Community and Population Health at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. So tell me, what will the University of Medical Center have to offer at the Be More Healthy Expo today?
Yeah, we're really excited to be here. We've been one of the sponsors since the beginning. We've got a ton of information for the community to come down and join us. We've got screenings for weight, BMI, blood pressure. We've got healthy eating information, healthy kids information. Our diabetes program is featured here as well. And we would just love to invite everybody to come down, get some information, talk to our team, and get some giveaways.
You really highlighted something important there. We know a lot of people really don't know their heart health numbers. We just ran a report on this yesterday. Why is it important people know those kind of numbers for monitoring their health?
Yeah, so we know that so many people don't realize that they may be at risk for heart disease or diabetes. And so if they understand what their blood pressure is, their cholesterol, their sugars, things like that, we can really have discussions with them, and they can take control, and they can take simple lifestyle changes, such as eating a little bit better, maybe adding more fruits and vegetables to their diet, maybe taking more walks, things like that. But we can help people make small changes to improve their health. So if we know what their numbers are, we can help guide them in the right direction.
And Christine, we can do all of that today. Get the counseling, the guidance, learn our numbers at the Be More Healthy Expo, and we can meet you down there.
Yeah, come on down. We can't wait to see everybody.
All right. Well, we can't wait to be out there. Thanks, Christine.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we invite you to join us at the Be More Healthy Expo. It happens today at the Baltimore Convention Center. It's free. You've got your health screenings. There's going to be cooking, dance demonstrations, and a chance to meet your favorite Fox 45 News personalities. Again, the Be More Healthy Expo runs from 10 a.m. today to 4 p.m. We'll see you there. Let's get over to meteorologist Amy Aronson, though, because we could see some rain on our way there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I just updated our event planner to include the Be More Healthy Expo today. So if you are headed out, maybe for the kickoff at 10 a.m., plan on some spotty showers. Throw on a light rain jacket. As we head through the afternoon, perfect reason to be inside the convention center with a few showers showing up right around midday. It's going to be mild, though. Temperatures in the upper 50s at that point. And as everything wraps up there, maybe you want to enjoy a walk downtown afterwards. Temperatures end up in the low 60s again today. It's going to feel pretty nice. And we're actually looking down at the entrance of the convention center right now. Looks pretty empty and quiet at this moment while we await the kickoff there. We are starting off close to 40 degrees. Not bad on this Saturday morning. We're actually looking at a really mild start to the weekend. Now, I am tracking showers both days. The higher chance holds off until tomorrow. And then early next week, it's going to turn rainy, windy, and pretty chilly Monday into Tuesday with the potential for some wet flakes, too. Right now, we're just watching this weather maker off to our west. That batch of showers is heading our direction. In advance of that, it's just overcast. We're not tracking a ton of sunshine today, so although it's going to be nice and warm, not a lot of sunshine to go along with it. We see the showers rush in by the end of the morning, so I think between 10 and 11 a.m. Showers are light today. They don't last long. You'll notice they're pretty scattered and wrap up by 5 o'clock. At that point, we wrap up the day in the mid-60s. It's going to feel like spring out there. Doesn't last, though. As we head through the second half of the weekend, cooler air moves in, and then you'll notice a better chance for rain tomorrow. Starting around daybreak, we've got a pretty significant chance here for some soggy conditions. Soggy conditions will take us through at least midday on Sunday with temperatures in the upper 40s at that point. As we near the start of the big game, perfect time to head inside, watch a little bit of football. It's going to be cool. Temperatures will be in the mid-40s at that point. So this weekend, we've got showers both days. I think the lower chance is today, high temperatures in the 60s. The higher chance is tomorrow. So outdoor activities today over Sunday. Sunday's going to be cooler. We've got that higher chance for rain, too. Now let's talk about early next week. This is when another weather maker pushes into our region with some cooler air in place. Looks like showers will arrive from this next system Monday evening and Monday night. Mostly rain at that point. But as things wrap up here around daybreak on Tuesday, we've got some blue stuff showing up, at least briefly. Not a lot. I think some wet flakes, that's really the issue here. And that would wrap up by midday on Tuesday as that system pulls out of here. So here's how that all breaks down in your 7-day forecast. For the Be More Healthy Expo today, it's going to be nice and warm, spring-like, highs in the mid-60s. Scattered showers on Sunday. Sunday's the higher chance for rain with highs in the cooler low 50s. And then another round of showers arrive late Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday, we actually wrap up with some wet flakes. And then we're dry for Valentine's Day on Wednesday. Definitely much cooler for the second half of the week. Although we're drier, we're tracking high temperatures closer to 50 Thursday and Friday. Taylor?
Getting ready to eat? Yeah, me too. Game day, second biggest eating day of the year next to Thanksgiving. I'm Liz Bonus. Can you cut down on the calories? We explain just ahead.
And ahead, new 911 audio from Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers' domestic assault investigation. Stick with us here at Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Now to an update in an incident related to Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers. Baltimore County Police confirmed they are, in fact, investigating an alleged domestic assault at Flowers' home. Now, police say this happened in Owings Mills right before the AFC Championship game. Flowers has not been charged with the crime or named as a suspect, but new 911 audio is shedding light on what happened. Dispatchers sent 2 officers to Flowers' home for a welfare check. This was after getting a call from a woman who abruptly hung up the phone.
Female answered and was crying, so she didn't have an emergency but seemed in distress when she hung up the phone.
The results of that call are not clear. Fox 45 News did request inbound records from the Baltimore County Police Department, but they say they're not giving that to us. It's an open investigation. We spoke with State Delegate Ryan Naraki of Baltimore County, who tells us these records should be available for public access. He says, quote, I think in this case and cases that are similar to this, the legal basis and legal findings are clear that these records should be open to the public. Now, Delegate Naraki, along with 6 other Maryland lawmakers, sent a letter to Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski today, demanding the release of that full 911 recording related to the incident. Fox 45 News has reached out to Zay Flowers and his agent for comment. We have not received a response. This is a developing story, though, so you can find all of our developments on our website, foxbaltimore.com. We'll, of course, keep you updated here on air. after the break, a local economist joins us to weigh in on the concerns surrounding the governor's spending as a major crime bill was just announced. And we're in for another nice day with temps in the 60s, but meteorologist Amy Aronson is tracking some rain in her forecast. Stick with Fox 45 Morning News so we can tell you when she's timing it all out. All local here, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over the Baltimore Convention Center hours before we welcome thousands of people, just a few here. It's Saturday, February 10th. I'm Taylor Stewart, and it's time to talk about your forecast because we're expecting a few showers here and there. Meteorologist Amy Aronson here to time it all out for us. It's going to be a big day today.
Yeah, in Baltimore. Big day. We're all going to be there at the Baltimore Convention Center. I don't think weather will have an impact on getting there. We are starting off in the 40s this morning. It's actually not bad. Well above freezing. Little cloudy out there, but we are dry to start off the day. So as you enjoy some coffee this morning, maybe get ready, get dressed to head down to the Baltimore Convention Center. We're just looking at mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures actually will be warming into the low 50s by the end of the morning. Now, I am tracking some showers today, but that's not our highest chance for rain this weekend. So coming up in just about 10 minutes, I'll let you know exactly when we have a higher chance for rain and what that means for these warm temperatures as the weekend goes on. Taylor?
Well, Governor Wes Moore unveiled his state plan on Friday, and in that plan, it complements his budget and legislative agenda. It also focuses on 10 priorities, including ending child poverty, setting up students for success, making communities safer, creating more affordable housing, and making Maryland a leader in clean energy.
This cannot just be about funding numbers. That's not the only number that's going to matter. We need accountability. We need transparency. We need to see that things are working. Because the things that are working and the things that we are measuring, we then know how are we then gauging our efficacy.
Well, many critics have been wary of the governor's spending as the state faces a $1.8 billion budget deficit by the end of the decade. Now, one lawmaker is working to ensure the cost is not passed on to Marylanders without legislative approval. Fox 45's Keith Daniels takes a closer look at the new bill.
For Delegate Nino Mangione, it's the first step, a hearing with the Ways and Means Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody, Madam Chair.
With that greeting comes a major move toward colossal change.
House Bill 484 lets the sun shine in on the revenue process.
The Republican from Baltimore County in Annapolis Thursday introducing House Bill 484, titled the Taxpayer Disclosure and Protection Act, a bill that would require legislative approval for any state tax or fee increase. Mangione's motivation, simple.
Well, it's to protect the taxpayer.
The delegate in his office with more on the proposed legislation.
This isn't some Fantasyland type bill that says you can't raise taxes. That's not what this says. This bill allows for tax increases. It allows for fee increases. If you're going to increase those tax or fees, you have to vote, and it cannot be done through basically bureaucracy.
As in the case, he says, with the Maryland gas tax, which is tied to inflation and is automatically increased without a vote from legislators.
Number one, it's about transparency.
Mangione's move comes as lawmakers return to Annapolis, with Maryland facing a $761 million shortfall. Last month, Governor Wes Moore released his $63.1 billion spending plan, a budget that contains no tax increases. Still, for Mangione, there's doubt when thinking about how the budget will be paid for without raising taxes.
Well, I believe the governor. I'll take him at his word, but we're still facing serious deficits, and we have to figure out how we're going to address them.
But for now, the push to get the bill passed.
And I think the most important part about this is it actually is a constitutional amendment. It would be brought to the people to decide yes or no here. And I bet you that the people of Maryland would overwhelmingly support government transparency when it comes to who raises their taxes and fees.
Well, the bill now moves to 2 more readings in the House of Delegates before moving to the Senate for consideration. A passing vote from both chambers must happen before it can become law. We want to bring in Dr. Daria Zerani from Towson University to talk about the spending plan and the budget. We want to know, is this realistic? Good morning to you, Dr. Rani.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, look, I want to talk about this. We have a lot of projects on the table in Annapolis, and the governor's proposed his $63 million billion, and he says there will not be an increase in taxes. Are you concerned that that could happen?
Yes. I mean, I think there will be, at some point down the road, there will likely be an increase in taxes. There's always been a movement in the House in Maryland to sort of, propose some new taxes. We have a structural deficit. The governor has cut it back this year, doing a little bit of taking from the rainy day fund to kind of balance the budget, but that's not a long-term solution. Maryland has struggled with a structural deficit. So either we can tax our way out of it, we can cut our spending, or we can figure a way to keep our population in Maryland. So we lost population in the last census. So those are taxpayers leaving the state of Maryland. We need to figure a way to keep those individuals in Maryland.
Do you think it's necessary that we make cuts? And if so, where would they come from?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Unfortunately, as an economist, I don't have to answer that question. I mean, you do have to make cuts. But, it's limited resources with unlimited wants. And so, we all want wonderful roads, great schools, great universities, economic development, all those things, but those come at a cost. And, with inflation, those costs have all gone up. So with like the gas tax, obviously people pay more at the gas pump. But unfortunately, it does fall more disproportionately on lower income individuals, because many higher income individuals are buying, hybrid cars, electric cars, which don't pay as much of the gas tax. So, there has to be a way to figure these things out. And there's smart people in Annapolis that can figure out some policy. I know there's a commission to look at exactly how we pay for roads going forward with a reduced gas tax.
Well, speaking of folks in Annapolis, Mangione is raising concerns, obviously, with the budget, and he wants to see a bill that would require the legislature to approve any tax increases. Do you have any concerns with that, or do you think that moves in the right direction when you consider the budget we are currently seeing and the deficit we're also balancing?
So that's a difficult, a difficult question because, on one hand, cutting the, making a vote on the gas tax, say increase everything, makes it much more political. But allowing it to increase automatically also does hurt individuals who are lower or middle class income because they're paying disproportionately more in gas tax to their income. So it is a balancing question because last year I think it was proposed it would have cost the transportation about $61 million if another bill had passed that had done the same, proposed the same thing of disallowing an automatic increase. So it is a balancing act, and these are sort of the jobs of the legislature to come up with a good solution, nonpartisan solution to a rather difficult problem. We have to figure out how to balance our budget. We have to do it sustainably. And that's why hopefully we have very smart people in Annapolis that are doing this every day. So we want to make sure it gets done.
All right. Well, we'll leave it right there. Dr. Irani, thank you for joining us this morning as we continue to follow the budget and its concerns, as well as some measures to possibly alleviate them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, a final pigskin prediction for the NFL season. The FOX45 Morning News team goes head-to-head as they let folks know what the outcome may be for the big game.
And rain chances are going up this weekend. Highest chance for rain coming Sunday and then late Monday. I'll break down all these rain chances in more detail and let you know exactly what it means for your weekend plans in a couple of minutes. It's 7:35. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
For as long as it lasts. Oh, man, this is it. Super Bowl 58 is finally here. The San Francisco 49ers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift.
Oh, boy.
Isn't that how that works? Yeah. All right, so it's one thing to see who's going to walk away with the Lombardi Trophy, but it's a whole nother thing to see who will walk away with the even more coveted Fox 45 trophy.
Does that have a name on it, like an official name, like the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the Vince Lombardi?
No, it's the Pigskin Champ Trophy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
that's what it is.
And it's actually really heavy.
For the final pigskin prediction of the year, my challengers, Tom, Megan, and Justin, and a lot of trash talking going on.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Because
so
Justin
once again,
and you cannot win, right?
Statistically, at this point, so you're.
We still could.
She didn't answer the question. That was such a politician answer.
No, so
Because it depends.
you're in the lead. So no, we can't. We are out.
No.
You have 10 points.
Right.
Justin and I have 7. Megan has 8. So only you and Megan can win.
If we choose different teams.
If you choose different teams.
Right.
if you all choose, you know.
If they choose the same teams and we choose different teams, then we can still win, and then we tie.
Then we win.
Do you understand?
Right.
Yeah, because this one's worth 5 points.
But because
So
there's
much
been
is
a lot
possible
of
here,
because
guys, and
there's
it's
been
all for
it's so
this, the
confusing.
glory.
because there's been a lot of talk already since, you know, the season ended. We already know. Because I tried to convince you not to go with the team that I want to go with.
I'm solely on quarterbacks because they both have great weapons, offense and defense.
Are you making your pick?
I am.
Okay.
I was San Fran about 2 weeks ago. I was going with San Fran, thinking that it was going to be San Fran Ravens. The Ravens were going to beat San Fran, but that didn't happen. So I'm still staying with now San Fran. Brock Purdy. I think he's actually going to win. Mahomes is very good, but I don't think he's going to come back this time.
All right.
I think he's gone.
There you go. How about you? I mean, or do you want me to go first? Because I know who I'm going to go with.
I do want you to go first.
You do?
Yeah.
I'm also going with San Fran because I'm on that train. I want them to win. I don't want the Chiefs to win.
Okay.
I want that chip to go down sinking.
Can
I go next?
New people in commercials.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
I like where you're going, but I think there's more to a team than a quarterback. And I think that Kelsey has been coming on. I think the two of them have been working hard together. The Taylor Swift factor
Special teams,
is part of
Taylor
it.
Swift.
I'm going with
Switchy Nation.
the Chiefs. Yep.
All right. I'm going with San Francisco.
All right. Three San Fran.
Yeah, it's my third favorite team. Sorry, Jess. My third favorite team with the Commanders, number 2, and then San Fran's my third favorite team.
So then you guys have to have a tiebreaker.
So it will be between you and Tom who will win the trophy.
trophy.
All right. So then outside of that, between Justin and myself, let's pick scores. Whoever gets the
total
closest
score of the game, and it's Price is Right rules as it always should be.
Can't go over?
It's
Okay.
actual retail score without going over.
And what's on the line for us? Food?
Food? Yeah. We'll just do.
Do I get to say my favorite food, or you get to say your
Miss
favorite
Shirley's
food?
breakfast, something like that. Yeah, or whatever, like we
All
did
right.
last year. I'm going to go with 47 as the total. 47. So.
I'm going to go with 37. I'm going to go. 24,
So she gets 37 to 46. I get 47 to infinity.
Right.
That's how it works. Boom.
All right.
I'm going with
It's a
the
good
dollar.
deal.
All right, and so
$1.
here's our prop bet for all of us.
Oh, we have a side bet.
Yeah, we have this other bet. So this is what will be the color of the Gatorade that they pour on the winners at the end. Does everybody have a thought first?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know if you get to go first since you're the. We should have picked numbers out of a hat to see. This part is going. I mean, you only get one shot, and if somebody else already said it, we should have thought about that before we
Like
started.
Hamilton, you only get one shot.
Picked numbers out of a.
I'm going to say orange. I'm picking orange.
That was going to be what I picked. And who said you get to go first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he picked orange. All right. Go ahead, Megan.
You sure? I'm okay. I think red.
You think red?
Okay.
Because the teams are red, so I'm going with red because their teams are red.
I thought you were going to go purple. That's why I said orange.
No, I don't know why orange. I'm going to go with like the yellow clear.
The original one.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
lime
with that.
green. Yeah, green. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going blue.
All right, good.
Just change it.
All right, there you go.
There we go. All right. Well, you can share your pigskin predictions with me each week. Oh, we are competitive around here. Just go to my Facebook page. Leave me a post. Tell us what you think.
I like the Gatorade bet.
Blue Gatorade and free
Pigskin
breakfast.
And we think
on the
TK is
line.
going to make it to the game.
Oh, that's
of course
that's
she will,
another bet.
yes.
She'll be there. How many
a good
times they show her that would have
Oh,
that
that's
should
what we
have
should
been
have
another
done.
bet.
Darn
She's
it.
only averaging 30 seconds a game of airtime.
Still, that's a good
surprising.
drinking game.
Half a second
I'm
shot
gonna
every
go.
time
I'm
it's
gonna go
alive.
with more than that this time. I'm gonna say a minute 30.
All right.
If they win.
Coming up in your consumer news, multiple products recalled for a listeria outbreak that began over 8 years ago. In your consumer news, paying off one-of-a-kind debt is causing another kind of debt to fall further behind. New data from the Federal Reserve of New York says Americans cannot keep up with their credit card balances. It's because they're using their credit cards to get this, pay off student loans. Student loan repayment resumed last October, the same quarter in which about 8% of credit card debt went into delinquency. A J.P. Morgan analyst says loan borrowers resumed paying back $10 billion a month then. The average loan bill is between $200 and $300 a month. A recall of dairy products with potential listeria contamination is expanding to other foods. The FDA says products produced by Rizzo Lopez Foods, such as 7 Layers bean dip, chicken enchiladas, taco kits, they could contain listeria. The products were sold at several stores, including Trader Joe's, Costco, Albertson. The CDC reports more than 60 cheese and dairy other products are linked to a listeria outbreak that ranges back to 2014. The CDC says the outbreak caused more than 24 illnesses since it began, as well as 2 deaths. Consumers are urged to throw these products out immediately and clean any surfaces it may have touched. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Amy Aronson because we're in for a nice day today. If you like a little bit of a drizzle.
Yeah, little bit of light rain today, but it's going to be so warm again. So if you enjoyed the 60s yesterday, you've got another chance to enjoy it today. I don't think these rain chances mean today's a washout. Low chance for just some spotty showers between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. today. Now, tomorrow, that rain chance increases up to 60%, and I think your best bet for soaking rain tomorrow comes from 7 a.m. through 2 p.m. So highest chance for rain comes for the second half of the weekend. And FutureScan also shows that. Shows first we make a run for the 60s today. Not bad. Some showers pass through briefly this afternoon and this evening, but they are very scattered in fashion. Overnight tonight, you'll notice rain returns and then becomes pretty steady by daybreak tomorrow. So around this time tomorrow, we've got some soaking rain pushing through, along with some much cooler temperatures. We're back in the upper 40s to near 50. That rain will get out of here Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. We are starting off with clouds this morning, looking down at Towson. Tough to find much in terms of sunshine, but temperatures not bad at all. We've got 40s in all locations right now, so temperatures are all starting off well above freezing. And although we're not talking a ton of sunshine today, and we do have that chance for some on and off showers through the afternoon, look at our high temperatures. Much like yesterday, it's going to feel pretty nice and spring-like. Temperatures will soar into the low 60s again. And then for date night plans tonight, just looking mostly cloudy. No need to worry about the rain tonight. Temperatures will stay on the mild side. We're in the mid-50s through this evening. Now let's talk about next week. Temperatures will be cooling down, not only tomorrow, but through Monday. Monday, we're close to 50. And then Tuesday, even cooler. Tuesday, we're back in the upper 30s and low 40s. And that comes with our next weather maker. So let's talk about the timeline of this. This one pushes in from the south and west as we head through Monday evening. We've got rain overnight Monday. Now, as this system wraps out of here, we are tracking some blue on the backside of it. That would be some slushy snow for areas north of Baltimore early Tuesday morning, right around daybreak as that system pulls away from us. And then we are dry for the second half of your Tuesday and heading into your Valentine's Day on Wednesday. We welcome sunshine back at that point. For this weekend, it's mild and spring-like today. We are tracking some spotty showers. Showers become more likely on Sunday. Next weather maker moves in late Monday into Tuesday. I think areas north of Baltimore and with some slushy snow, but minor accumulations early Tuesday morning. After that, we're dry and more seasonable for the second half of the week. Taylor?
The road to the big game is sponsored by Royal Farms.
Well, you hear it. It's time for the big game, at least it is tomorrow. And that means another edition of the biggest sports simulation in the video game world. Madden once again making its prediction for the big game, with the video game doing official predictions since 2012. They've been right about half the time. Last year, they were on the other side of that. They were wrong. They predicted the Philadelphia Eagles would beat Kansas to 31-17. The actual results of that game, though, were 38-35, with the Chiefs coming out on top. This year's simulation has the Chiefs taking it over again, with the 49ers having 28, but the Chiefs ending with 30. We'll have to wait and see the real results on Sunday. Speaking of Sunday, take a look at this time lapse of crews getting ready at Allegiant Stadium, prepped and ready for that game. This is the first time Vegas is hosting the big game, and you can see the grass being wheeled in. If you remember, just last year when the game was played in Arizona, field conditions were a big issue that players complained about. And we've already had 49ers taking issue with their practice field, saying the practice surface was unplayable again this year. Well, don't go anywhere. After the break, Rocco DeSandro has everything you need to know from the world of local sports. You don't want to miss out.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSandro. What Felix Bautista brings to the mound is hard to replicate. Standing at 6'8", not only does he tower over most batters, he brings the heat and a nasty splitter as well. So not having him out there this year, it stinks, plain and simple. The O's all-star closer underwent Tommy John surgery in October, and he's expected to miss the entire 2024 season. Yesterday, Bautista had a follow-up procedure done, but it's not expected to mess up his timeline to return to the field. The O's releasing a statement saying, quote, Felix Bautista had right elbow debridement and an ulnar nerve transposition today with Dr. Keith Meister in Dallas. We do not anticipate any changes in his overall Tommy John recovery timeline. We still expect him to return for the 2025 season, end quote. And that's great news. With Bautista set to miss this season, the O's signed Craig Kimbrell to fill that closer role. Pitchers and catchers report to camp on February 14th. That is right around the corner, people. Lamar drew 78 yards and 24 touchdowns while adding 821 yards rushing and 5 more touchdowns on the ground. Jackson wins the award a month and 1 day following his 27th birthday and had a ton of people to thank in his speech. It's a great speech from Lamar. Don Wink Martindale was the defensive coordinator in Baltimore when Lamar won his first MVP. It's a position he held from 2018 to 2021. Martindale will reportedly head to the college ranks to be the next defensive coordinator at Michigan. Martindale spent the last 2 seasons as defensive coordinator of the New York Giants, but the two sides agreed to part ways on January 10th, that following the season's end. Now he'll head to Ann Arbor and join the defending national champions, Michigan. Maryland women's lacrosse saw its 2023 season end a bit earlier than expected. Up 4 goals with 6 minutes to go. The Terps gave up 5 straight goals in the 15-14 loss to James Madison in the second round. And one would assume it's a loss that still sits with returning players and one the team can use as motivation for that 2024 campaign. That got underway yesterday. Terps taking on St. Joe's in Philly to kick off a brand new season, and they were firing on all cylinders to start. Eloise Clevenger feeds Jalen Rozga. She beats the keeper to put the Terps up 10-0. Fourth quarter, Terps up big. Former McDonough standout Corey Edmondson taking it herself. That's her second goal of the day as the Terps roll to a 16-3 win in their season opener. Big road game for Towson women's basketball. Tigers taking on the top team in the conference at Stony Brook. 35 seconds to go. Kylie Cornegay-Lucas ties it, so let's go to OT. That's where Patricia Anumba took over. Anumba and Kylie Cornegay-Lucas combined for 47 points as Towson goes on to beat Stony Brook in overtime, 83-78. That's going to do it for your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Thanks for watching, and have a great Saturday.
The Be More Healthy Expo kicks off at 10 o'clock this morning. We're already live inside the Baltimore Convention Center with everything you need to know before the big ceremony. And former Governor Larry Hogan now throwing his hat in the ring for U.S. Senate, where he stands on the state's current juvenile legislation as he touts a bid for Senate.
And I'm tracking some showers this weekend. I'll let you know when we have our highest chance for rain in the weekend in just a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Towson this morning as we wake you up here almost 8 o'clock. It's February 10th. I'm Taylor Stewart, and you're in the right place because Fox 45 Morning News is going to be excited to welcome you to the Be More Healthy Expo later today. But we need to know, will the weather hold up for us? Meteorologist Amy Aronson with the answer to that question.
Yeah, I don't think today looks bad. Tomorrow, definitely more of a washout. Today, we do have this batch of showers heading our direction, but it looks weak, and it should stay weak as it heads our way, too. So far from a washout today, and we've got some really mild air moving in. So look at what's coming our way along with the rain. I see 50s off to our south and west. We're going to see air like that push our way, and our temperature is going to climb quite a bit today, despite the lack of sunshine. We are looking at more clouds than sun today over Baltimore, and we're tracking a few showers. On and off showers starting around 9 a.m. and taking us to about 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. But take note of our temperatures. Pretty nice stuff here. For February standards, it's going to be a very mild day, feeling like spring with highs well into the low 60s. Now, coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk about our rain chances for the rest of the weekend, and I'll show you when we're expecting a higher chance for some wet stuff. Taylor?
So I'm here today to support the changes that need to be made to the juvenile reform. We think there are some good changes. All the state's attorneys in the state are supporting this change, and we think it'll make the juvenile system better.
Well, lawmakers in Annapolis gathering again to review the Democrats' juvenile crime plan. For months, we've heard from prosecutors across Maryland who say the current juvenile crime laws tie their hands and they need to change. Jeff Abel joins us with the key takeaways from the latest hearing.
A real tug of war is playing out here in the Senate today as senators decide whether those juvenile reforms passed 2 years ago need reforming themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Judicial Proceedings Committee.
We've seen gun crimes go up for kids over 220%.
Before a Senate committee today, state's attorneys describe the problem they can no longer prosecute.
The 12-year-old who walks into an Anne Arundel County school with a loaded gun, and all of a sudden we look at the law and we're like, oh, we can't do anything.
Members of the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee began considering Senate Bill 744, which rolls back many of the reforms the legislature passed 2 years ago. The bill allows juveniles under 13 to be prosecuted for certain firearm offenses, third-degree sexual abuse, animal abuse, and vehicular theft. It would also allow probation to be extended for juveniles from the current 6 months to 1 year.
And we're not rolling back everything in Senate Bill 744, but we're taking a look at some of the things we did and say, hey, this wasn't such a good idea.
Bills like this only punish our youth instead of addressing the root cause.
But opponents insist the bill is misguided and fails to provide services offenders desperately need.
The biggest issue, the biggest problem, programs and services for children who are in need of services. And that's our problem.
Because we don't have them anymore.
We understand the fear that is real and perceived. We understand the urgency to calm your constituents by doing something. However, expediency and righteousness are rarely achieved at the same pace.
The governor and other state leaders have endorsed the reforms, but not everyone seems convinced it's the right solution at the right time.
Kind of right-sizing this solution, and that's what this discussion is about.
It's important that we take a system that has never had difficulty incarcerating or over-incarcerating our children, and we really put our focus on a front-end intervention, diversion, lack of putting children into a system where we know that once that happens and the earlier it happens, that child is more likely to be in the system for a longer period of time.
A similar hearing was passed in the House yesterday. So far, no votes have been taken. Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Well, former Governor Larry Hogan is now running for a U.S. Senate seat. He's vying to become Maryland's first Republican senator since 1987. Now, during his time as governor, he pushed for tougher crime laws, supporting several bills during his tenure. Let's go ahead and take a look here. First up, the Judicial Transparency Act. That bill would publish sentencing data with judges' names on it. A watered-down version of the bill did pass in 2022, although critics say the changes did not provide the transparency the original bill intended to create. The other here, the Violent Firearms Offender Act. It would have implemented mandatory minimums for felony crimes committed using guns. It also sought to impose stricter penalties for repeat offenders of violent crimes. It did pass the Senate twice, but stalled in the House, marking Hogan's biggest frustration while he left office. Now Hogan says he's tired. He's trying politics in Washington. He wants to bring change to the Capitol as FOX45's Keith Daniels takes a closer look.
50 years ago,
former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan with the announcement Friday of his run for the U.S. Senate, telling voters he wants to get back to work with solutions to fix what he calls the nation's broken politics and to fight for Maryland.
That's exactly what I did as your governor, and it's exactly how I'll serve you in the United States Senate. Let's get back to work.
Hogan releasing an engaging campaign video on YouTube. His run for the Senate, somewhat of a bombshell for some political observers.
He always made it clear he was not interested in a Senate seat.
So why now? Political analyst John Deedy ponders over Hogan's declaration.
I think because the Republican National Committee really twisted his arm in many ways to suggest we're willing to financially help you, and support you any way you can because Republicans want to get a control majority of the Senate.
The decision marks a surprise turnaround for Hogan, a moderate who had considered a presidential bid. In fact, he sat down with FOX45 News back in March when he said after some soul searching, he decided that he would not seek the GOP nomination, but said he wasn't ready to walk away from politics. He also added the Senate was out of the question.
I'm not really cut out to be a legislator. Going to Washington, arguing with 99 other people and never getting anything done. I'm not sure I'd be passionate about doing that every day.
But apparently his passion found. In his campaign video, the two-term Republican governor reminds Marylanders how his administration overcame unprecedented challenges, cut taxes 8 years in a row, balanced the budget, and created a record surplus. Hogan says now he's tired of the toxic politics that's happening across the country, which in part he says is fueling his run for the U.S. Senate.
The politicians in Washington seem to be more interested in arguing than in actually getting anything done for the people they represent. Enough is enough.
Hogan's Senate race, says Dede, a potential major shakeup in a blue state.
It does shake up the race into the fact that most people consider this race a strong Democratic race where a Democrat would control, that basically a Democrat would win this race. Now, most people are rating it as likely Democrat, and that makes all the difference in the world.
At this point, a total of 7 Republicans have filed to enter the GOP primary, but none as well known as well as the former governor. President Joe Biden's fitness to serve being questioned following a recent press conference, the gaffe that has the nation talking.
And I am tracking some showers both weekend days, followed by wet and windy conditions on Monday, and then the potential for some slushy wet flakes come Tuesday morning. I'll break all of these precipitation chances down in more detail in just a couple of minutes. It's 8:08. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
In your election 2024 coverage at a press conference denouncing the special counsel's questions about his memory just Thursday, President Biden misspoke, mixing up the presidents of Egypt and Mexico.
Initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in.
It's one of several recent gaffes for the president, who's mixed up European leaders twice in the past week alone. Now, on Wednesday, Biden told donors he spoke with German leader Helmut Kohl, who died in 2017. he meant Angela Merkel. On Sunday, Biden called the president of France Francis Mitterrand, and he died in 1996. Last month, Biden mistakenly referred to former President Trump as the sitting president. And it's not just President Biden. Former President Trump has had his share of gaffes lately, memorably confusing the president's name and candidate Nikki Haley with former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people, soldiers, National Guard, so whatever they want. They turned it down.
He also confused former President Obama with President Biden, thanked supporters for coming to South Dakota when he actually was in another part of Iowa, and then warned Biden would plunge the world into World War II, seemingly meaning a World War III. Trump's GOP rivals seized on the errors with Ron DeSantis' campaign launching a Trump accident tracker. This was before the Florida governor suspended his own campaign. Just ahead, new 911 audio in Ravens receiver Zay Flowers' domestic assault investigation. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. And Project Baltimore's investigation finds millions of tax dollars intended to Maryland's poor schools apparently not even being spent. More on that just ahead.
Project Baltimore is sponsored by the Snyder Law Group. Don't just sue them, Snyder them.
Millions of tax dollars intended to help children in Maryland's poorest schools are actually not being spent. As Project Baltimore's Chris Past explains, that is according to a report just released by the Inspector General for Education.
The Blueprint for Maryland's Future, also known as the Kerwin Plan, pumps billions of additional dollars into public education. But now an audit by the Inspector General for Education found millions of your tax dollars are going unused. When Maryland's legislature passed the Blueprint for Maryland's Future a few years ago, it created what's known as the Concentration of Poverty Grant Program. This grant provides extra funding to schools in areas with high rates of poverty and crime. The money is intended to give students extra resources, such as health care and other social services. Maryland has 24 public school systems. The IG report only looked at 8 of them and found $12.3 million in grant money was sent to those 8 school systems, but sat unused from fiscal years 2020 to 2022. How can this happen? The report blames the Maryland Department of Education for a lack of policies and training. In other words, school systems didn't know how to spend the money or what to spend it on. The report issues a series of recommendations for MSDE, which includes improving how it monitors the concentration of poverty grant to ensure the funds are not misallocated. MSDE says it has already implemented some of the recommendations, and it plans to implement almost all of the rest of them. According to the IG, addressing this problem now is especially important because in the coming years, billions of additional tax dollars will go into public education as a result of the blueprint for Maryland's future. Now, coming up on Wednesday, we're going to take a closer look at this report because if $12 million went unspent in just 8 school systems, how big of a problem is this statewide? I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Project Baltimore wants to hear from you. Do you have a story to share about your child's education or a concern you'd like our team to investigate? Go ahead and call that tip line on your screen or send us an email to projectbaltimore@foxbaltimore.com. You can also find us on social media. Now to an update related to Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers. Baltimore County Police confirmed they are investigating a domestic assault at Flowers' home in Owings Mills. They say it happened before the AFC Championship game, and Flowers has not been charged with a crime or named a suspect. But we have new 911 audio, and it's shedding light on what happened here. Dispatchers sent 2 officers to Flowers' neighborhood for a welfare check after getting a call from a woman who abruptly hung up the phone.
Female answered and was crying, said she didn't have an emergency but seemed in distress when she hung up the phone.
The results of that call are not clear, but FOX45 News did request the inbound records from the Baltimore County Police Department. They are not giving us those. They say it's part of an open investigation, but we did speak with State Delegate Ryan Narawaki of Baltimore County. He tells us these records should be available for public access. He says, quote, "I think in this case and cases similar to this case, the legal basis and legal fines are clear." He says records should be open to the public. Now, Delegate Naraki, along with 6 other Maryland lawmakers, sent a letter to Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski. They're demanding the release of that full 911 audio related to this incident. We reached out to Zay Flowers and his agent for comment, but we've not heard back. Meantime, this is a developing story, though, so you can find any developments here on air or on our website, foxbaltimore.com. All right, let's go ahead and talk to meteorologist Amy Aronson. 50s to start our day sounds nice.
Bad. Yeah, not bad if you're heading out to join us at the Be More Healthy Expo. Things open at 10 a.m. there. And at that point, temperatures will be close to 50. We are tracking some spotty showers, so I'd throw in a light rain jacket. That'll get you through the day with temperatures in the upper 50s by midday and then low 60s as things wrap up. Perfect reason to maybe enjoy a walk around downtown after you head to the convention center, of course, for the Be More Healthy Expo. So that's what we're looking at downtown right now. Temperatures in the low 40s to start, cloudy skies, mild start to the weekend. We're headed for the mid-60s today. Pretty nice stuff for mid-February standards. We are tracking some showers not only today, but especially tomorrow. That's our higher chance for rain this weekend. And then more rainy, windy, and chilly conditions as we head into early next week. So here's weather maker number 1. That's what's scooting its way in today. Some light showers with that. In advance of it, it's just cloudy right now. Most of the day is overcast with some on and off showers starting by the end of the morning. So updated future scan shows some showers trickling in by the end of the morning and then continuing on and off through this evening. But take note of our numbers here. It's going to feel like spring. Temperatures in the mid-60s this afternoon. Tonight, more clouds will stick around. Temperatures will be falling. And by this time tomorrow, yeah, we're waking up to pretty soggy conditions. Not only do we have 40s across the region, we've got showers ongoing through at least midday, I think lingering through much of the afternoon tomorrow. And then as we near the start of the big game, temperatures in the 40s. It's cooler. Perfect excuse to stay in and watch a little bit of football. Now for today, we've got low 60s. Make a reason to get out outside, at least briefly today. Low 60s ahead of us, feeling pretty nice despite that brief shower chance. A higher chance for rain tomorrow. So I'd say tomorrow's the day for indoor plans. We've got some rain through the afternoon with temperatures on the cooler side, returning to the upper 40s, low 50s. Then let's talk about our next weather maker. This is coming in Monday night into Tuesday. We'll start off with some rain overnight Monday. Chilly rain at that point, windy conditions on the backside of this. Yeah, some slushy snow to wrap things up right around daybreak on Tuesday. Doesn't last long. Temperatures should be above freezing, so accumulations very minor from this event. Here's a look at one of our forecast models. As you can see, nothing at all Monday. Tuesday, little bit expected north of Baltimore, but once again, I think these will be pretty minimal because temperatures will be above freezing. So we've got a lot of rain chances coming up in our 7-day forecast. A higher chance for rain tomorrow compared to today, and then that next weather maker comes Monday into Tuesday, ending with some wet flakes Tuesday morning. After that, we're dry for Valentine's Day and the rest of the week too. Taylor?
The debate over redevelopment plans in Baltimore County continues, and it's raising some criticism. What residents have to say about it. And you're looking live inside the Be More Healthy Expo. We are getting ready to meet you out there. Starts at 10 a.m. this morning, and you don't want to miss all of the vendors. We'll tell you who's going to be out there in just a few minutes. Stick with Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Breaking overnight, police in Prince George's County say a 2-year-old boy is dead and his mother hurt after a shooting in Langley Park. Officials say a detective in the area heard gunshots, and when he arrived to the scene, he found a mother and her child suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He began providing life-saving measures, but the mother and child were taken to a nearby hospital where the 2-year-old was pronounced dead. One woman telling our sister station in D.C. that she lived with the 2 victims and was devastated to hear this news.
I said, no, it cannot be Jeremy. He only passed out. Jeremy has to be still alive. It cannot be. I feel the pain of this worse than if he had been family.
Detectives are trying to piece together what exactly happened here. A $25,000 reward is now being offered for any information that leads to an arrest. And in Colombia, the search is on for a suspect who police say shot an elderly man inside of his home. According to police, they were called to a home on Half Dollar Court around 11 o'clock last night. When they got there, officers found a 67-year-old man with several gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead. Now, detectives say they don't believe this shooting was random, though. If you have any information, give police a call. The debate over redevelopment plans in Baltimore County continues. Critics are raising concerns over certain areas called nodes or strategic locations for new development. They say it's not clear how these nodes were chosen, and they're worried it could lead to developers buying up properties and homes in the area. Creators of the plan say they used 27 different data points to identify these nodes. And just because something falls into one doesn't mean it will be redeveloped.
The nodes use metrics, and council members right now are the closest touch a resident has to their county government. So we're trying to weigh between the metrics and what community sentiment is.
Yeah, I support the plan, but I do have some concerns. Some of the concerns that I have are sort of like a broad brush approach with some of the nodes. And what happens is you're inevitably going to have some unintended consequences.
In a statement to Fox 45 News, a spokesperson for the county says the administration stands by their plan and will examine any amendments that are provided. As Governor Wes Moore outlines his plan for the state, one delegate is pushing a bill to ensure Marylanders don't pay more tax dollars. How he wants to get it done. Just ahead, you're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. You're looking live outside the Baltimore Convention Center. Folks are not lined up yet, but that's fine. They've got about an hour and a half before things get rocking inside there today for the Be More Healthy Expo. Thanks for being with us. It's Saturday, February 10th. I'm Taylor Stewart. It's time to talk about what we all want to know for today. Is the weather going to hold up for us walking and chugging into that convention center throughout the day today?
Yeah, it's not a bad day to be inside the convention center. We do have some spotty showers, but I don't think it's going to be a complete washout either. We're starting off in the 40s. That's a good sign. Temperatures will be nice and mild again today. So if you didn't get an opportunity to enjoy the 60s yesterday, you've got one more chance today before a cool down arrives. This morning, as you maybe get ready to head out to the Expo or head downtown and enjoy some coffee, it's just mostly cloudy. Pretty quiet start to your Saturday. Low 50s by the end of the morning, actually mid 50s by the time the morning wraps up. And then, yeah, we are making a run for the 60s again today. Now, coming up in 10 minutes, I will break down your rain chances for both today and the rest of the weekend, too, in much more detail. Taylor?
Thanks, Amy. Well, Governor Wes Moore just unveiled his state plan on Friday. It complements his budget and his legislative agenda shared just last month. This new state plan prioritizes addressing child poverty, setting students up for success, and making communities safer. It also aims to create more affordable housing and make Maryland a leader in green energy.
This cannot just be about funding numbers. That's not the only number that's going to matter. We need accountability. We need transparency. We need to see that things are working. Because the things that are working and the things that we are measuring, we then know how are we then gauging our efficacy.
Critics, though, have been wary of the governor's spending as the state faces a $1.8 billion budget deficit by the end of the decade. Now, one lawmaker is working to ensure the cost is not passed on to taxpayers without approval from the legislature, at least. Fox 45's Keith Daniels has a closer look at the new bill.
For Delegate Nino Mangione, it's the first step, a hearing with the Ways and Means Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody, Madam Chair.
With that greeting comes a major move toward colossal change.
House Bill 484 lets the sun shine in on the revenue process.
The Republican from Baltimore County in Annapolis Thursday introducing House Bill 484, titled the Taxpayer Disclosure and Protection Act, a bill that would require legislative approval for any state tax or fee increase. Mangione's motivation, simple.
Well, it's to protect the taxpayer.
The delegate in his office with more on the proposed legislation.
This isn't some Fantasyland type bill that says you can't raise taxes. That's not what this says. This bill allows for tax increases. It allows for fee increases. If you're going to increase those tax or fees, you have to vote, and it cannot be done through basically bureaucracy.
As in the case, he says, with the Maryland gas tax, which is tied to inflation and is automatically increased without a vote from legislators.
Number one, it's about transparency.
Mangione's move comes as lawmakers return to Annapolis, with Maryland facing a $761 million shortfall. Last month, Governor Wes Moore released his $63.1 billion spending plan, a budget that contains no tax increases. Still, for Mangione, there's doubt when thinking about how the budget will be paid for without raising taxes.
Well, I believe the governor. I'll take him at his word, but we're still facing serious deficits, and we have to figure out how we're going to address them.
But for now, the push to get the bill passed.
And I think the most important part about this is it actually is a constitutional amendment. It would be brought to the people to decide yes or no here. And I bet you that the people of Maryland would overwhelmingly support government transparency when it comes to who raises their taxes and fees.
The bill now moves for 2 readings in the House of Delegates. It'll then move to the Senate for consideration.
This Fox 45 News segment is sponsored by Johns Hopkins University and Medicine.
Well, look, today is the day, and we're getting closer to the opening ceremony at the Be More Healthy Expo. And a staple of the event every year, Johns Hopkins University and Medicine. Let's go ahead and go there right now as we take you live to the Convention Center. Maria Harris-Tilden with the university this morning. Good morning to you. Now, Maria, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, but oh, there we go. Why is it so important for Johns Hopkins to participate once again this year?
Oh, this is our 3rd year participating in this really, really important event. And it's an opportunity for us to pull together resources to ensure that everyone in our community has every opportunity to thrive and be successful.
Now, tell us about the impact of Johns Hopkins expungement clinic, though. I know you guys have done that in the last few years, and every time, I went there last year, it had a huge impact. You could see the lines. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this is our 3rd year participating in partnership with Maryland Legal Aid. We have served over 900 people here in the city of Baltimore. We expect well over 300 today. It's an opportunity to work with over 35 attorneys from all over Johns Hopkins Health System and University, including, of course, our partners from Maryland Legal Aid. It's an opportunity to really change people's lives. folks come down here, meet with an attorney, have an opportunity to actually have their record expunged, which can lead to a ability to get a job, a loan, helps them actually secure housing. It is a game-changing opportunity. In addition to that, we have partners from all over the university who are on-site prepared to offer employment opportunities. Wow. So it's a one-stop shop for jobs, expungement, and also health screenings and health education.
Perfect. Well, we just had a full screen up next to you that really talked about the benefits of what can happen when you get a charge expunged. This will be a great opportunity for folks to come out today. So thank you so much, Maria, for joining us this morning, and we'll meet you out there.
Thank you so much for covering this.
Absolutely. Well, we invite you to join all of us at the Be More Healthy Expo today at the Baltimore Convention Center. The event's free. You'll get health screenings, an expungement clinic, as you heard. There's going to be cooking. There's going to be dancing. There's going to be so many opportunities to really meet your personalities here, but really improve your life. Again, today, the Be More Healthy Expo runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Meet you out there.
Getting ready to eat? Yeah, me too. Game day, second biggest eating day of the year next to Thanksgiving. I'm Liz Bonus. Can you cut down on the calories? We explain just ahead.
And our rain chances are going up this weekend. Spotty showers today, more likely tomorrow, and again on Monday. I'll break down all these rain chances in more detail and let you know when we could see some wet snow too in a couple of minutes. It's 8:36. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Well, beyond the game and the commercials, Super Bowl Sunday is really about the food, and a lot of it. Medical reporter Liz Bonus shares how much we usually eat.
Hey there, everybody. It is the second biggest eating day of the year next to Thanksgiving, depending on, of course, what's on your menu. Food markets are busy leading up to game day. Laura Riley of Ohio's Madison's at Findlay Market says they do see a big bump.
We do. We do see we're a lot busier with people buying different things like for snacks and Super Bowl parties.
It's not much of a surprise then that a recent survey from Let's Get Checked shows nearly 7 in 10 of us plan to overindulge on game day. Game predictions this year show we will average as many as 8,000 calories just on game day. Most of those will come from pizza. Up to 3 slices can give you about 700 calories. Loaded nachos up to about 1,400. Chips and dips up to about 500. Swap the chips for veggies and you can significantly lower those odds, however.
Healthier things that you could make for Super Bowl would be like hummus, maybe use some radishes or broccoli, different vegetables for dip instead of using chips.
If that's not your thing, just cutting back on what you drink can make a big difference. One report shows the average person has at least 3 beers at 500 calories and 3 cans of regular soda at about 400. So swap to diet or calorie-free drinks and you save 1,000 calories during the game. Finally, it's chicken wings that are the big game day food. 7% of all wings are actually eaten on game day at 100 calories each. And just in case you're wondering, psychologists also found recently that people ate double the fat on game day when their team didn't win compared to those who cheered for the winning team. Yeah, the nutritionists say it's all about pacing. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
The year of the dragon left the fire behind and rang in some cold holiday festivities in China. Now, locals in Beijing gathered at the Taoist temple to happily welcome in the Lunar New Year. Folk artisans wore traditional costumes and performed dragon dances, demonstrated martial arts, spring stilts, and other acrobats. Locals willingly endured some chilly temperatures to enjoy China's biggest holiday in a normal way. This is the first time they're doing this since the pandemic. They called off events for the last 4 years. As we get ready to stuff our faces and watch the big game, one local spot is joining us with some great deals to take advantage of here in studio. Stick with us. And of course, we'll have our update on those predictions from Madden just ahead. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
The road to the big game is sponsored by Royal Farms.
Countdown to the big game as we have one more day left, which means another edition of the biggest sports simulation in the video game world. Madden is once again making its prediction. The video game has done official predictions since 2012 and has been right about half of the time. Last year, they were on the other half of that. Madden predicted the Philadelphia Eagles would beat Kansas City 31-17. The actual result, 38-35, with the Chiefs coming out on top. Well, this year's simulation, they have the Chiefs taking it over the 49ers in a nail-biting 30-28 victory. We'll have to wait and see what the results are from the game. Well, speaking of Sunday, take a look at this. A time lapse of crews getting ready at Allegiant Stadium, prepped for the game. Now, this is the first time Vegas is hosting the Super Bowl, and you can see the grass being wheeled in. If you remember last year when the game was played in Arizona, the field conditions were a big issue for players. They complained, and we've already heard 49ers players taking issue with their practice field. They say the practice surface could be an issue again this year. Well, whether you're heading to the Super Bowl or you're hosting a game party at home, you have to make sure your whole family is involved. That even means the pets. Pet trendologist Charlotte Reed is joining us this morning with ways to, I guess, elevate their experience. Because, look, they're watching too, right, Charlotte?
They are watching. So we've got Churchill here, we've got Wally, and we've got Hammy, all ready for the big game tomorrow. So we're really excited. I think one of the first things people need to know is that if you're having friends and family over, you got to set some ground rules. You got to have a playbook. So one of the first things you want to do is make sure your pets are clean and parasite-free. They smell good, and all of their equipment, including their beds, smell fresh. It's also Pet Dental Health Month, and a lot of people don't realize you can bathe your pet, but he could still be stinky because he could have bad breath. So I bought some Twist and Lick here, and it actually has prolonged technology while he's licking it, as you can see, and it adheres to their gums, and it gives them fresh breath, and it combats that plaque and tartar, which makes it smelly, so it's always nice.
Well, I'm curious, though, because, you know, when people come in, speaking of smells, there will be a lot of smells in the kitchen. Is there anything people can do to make sure your environment is safe for their pets? Because there's going to be people walking around. I mean, I just imagine the party is going to get rocking tomorrow.
That's absolutely right. It's going to be a rockin' Super Bowl, and you want to tell your guests before they arrive, and also once you get there, make sure you keep the windows closed. You make sure you keep the doors closed, especially if they go out for a cigarette or something else. And even sometimes during halftime, people want to go out and throw a football around. So you want to make sure you're prepped, right? So one of the things that you want to do is also have a retreat for your pets. So if things get a little too crazy, they can go there, they can take some calming chews, calm down. Also, the other thing that you want to do as a defensive measure, you want to make sure, especially with cats, dogs you can always see because they're going to be jumping around. If a cat gets overwhelmed and overstressed, he might just walk out the door. So it's important that all of your pets have a number. And what I mean by that, just like the players, you want to make sure they have ID with their name and your phone number. But mostly it should be a cell number so they can reach you.
Right.
So Tractive's great because you can track your cat in real time. And like I said, when cats get overwhelmed and stressed, they just want to flee anywhere they can go. So it's always a really good idea. This way, even if they're hiding somewhere in the house, you can find them. The other thing is snacks. We can't fumble the food.
Exactly. They have to join in on us. But Charlotte, I'm getting the wrap here. So quickly show us the snacks really quick so we can see.
Sure. You want to have some snacks, like some low-calorie snacks. Yes. You don't want to have too much. I like to put them in a bowl and tell all guests no food. Do not give any wings, salty guacamole, or anything else. The last thing you want to have is a locked trash can. A lot of the voice-activated cans, if your golden retriever walks over to it, it'll open, but this is a lock can. It's a simple human can, and I love these cans, especially if you have dogs.
All right. Make sure they have their own area. Let them have their own fun treats.
Oh, and one more thing. Food. When you're in the kitchen, that's where everybody is. You want to make sure your water bowls are not in an area where people are going to have slip and fall accidents. And if you do have a bowl, make sure it's skid proof on the bottom, and then move it to an area in the retreat so the pets can water and feed up there.
I think you laid it all out, Charlotte. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and get over to meteorologist Amy Aronson.
Yeah, she had her pile of dogs there. I loved how they were all cuddling together. Maybe you want to get your dog out for a walk today. We've got a chance for some spotty showers. Not enough to stop you from walking your dog. Tomorrow might stop you. You might just want to let him out in the yard. We've got a higher chance for rain, especially from 7 a.m. through 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So 2 rain chances coming up this weekend. The first is pretty small. So today we do make a run for the low to mid 60s again, much like yesterday. We have a brief batch of showers rolling through right around midday. Some showers will actually linger this evening too, but it's still a nice nice spring-like day. Not bad for mid-February. Tomorrow, here comes the rain, arriving by daybreak on through the morning, and temperatures are cooler, upper 40s to near 50, so a soggy, cooler start to the day. The rain departs by Sunday evening, so if you are watching the big game, heading out somewhere to watch it, you're in good shape for traveling around the region with temperatures in the upper 40s at that point. Lots of clouds over Towson this morning. Tough to find much sunshine there, but temperatures not bad. 40s to near 50 already at the Inner Harbor, so temperatures are warming and will continue to warm throughout the day today before we quickly cool it down for the end of the weekend. If you are joining any of us at the Expo today, don't forget your umbrella, your rain jacket. We've got some showers right around midday, so right in the middle of it. Temperatures will be in the low 60s, though, so maybe enjoy a walk downtown afterwards. Date night plans tonight, you're in good shape. The rain's out of here by then, just mostly cloudy with temperatures actually still holding in the very mild mid-50s. Now, early next week, not the case. Temperatures cooling down. We're close to 50 on Monday. Tuesday, even cooler. High temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s again. And that comes with a chance for some more wet weather. New system moves in overnight Monday into Tuesday. Mostly wet and windy with this system. Overnight Monday, most of the rain moves through. Some wet snowflakes on the backside of this north of Baltimore early Tuesday. Shouldn't see much of an impact from that. And then we are dry again Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday for Valentine's Day. Here's a look at all your rain chances in your 7-day forecast. Highest chance for rain comes Sunday and then again Monday night. We wrap up with a mix of rain and snow showers north of Baltimore early Tuesday, and then we are dry again for Valentine's Day.
All right, we're back with America's Steals and Deals with Julie Morin.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
The FTC received fraud reports from 2.4 million consumers last year and over 1.1 million reports of identity theft. One way to gain information about a person is from their mail, their private documents, and other items that have your details on them, especially banking documents. Well, here's your solution, the ID Defender. It uses a unique pattern of numbers and letters. You see that right there? So when you use it, it becomes impossible to read your information, to use it to commit fraud or identity theft. The ID Defender is the best solution because you can't put pill bottles in a shredder, and using Sharpies to cross out your info doesn't guarantee it can't be read. You can still see it in the light. Now, this is so easy to use and has over 1,600 uses. Fraud, especially credit card fraud rates, continue to climb each year, and the median loss has risen to $650, meaning Americans lose much, much more. So protect yourself with the ID Defender. Right now, we're offering 48% off, get that, on a 3-pack of ID Defender. That's 3 for less than $25. I want you to head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.
In your consumer news, paying off one kind of debt is causing another to fall way behind. New data from the Federal Reserve of New York says Americans cannot keep up with their credit card balances, and it's because they're using their credit cards to pay off student loans. Student loan repayments resumed last October, and that same quarter, 8% of credit cards went into delinquency. A JP Morgan analyst says loan borrowers resumed paying back $10 billion then, and now the average loan bill is about $200 and $300 a month. A recall of dairy products with potential listeria contamination is expanding to other foods. The FDA says the products produced by Rio Lopez Foods have been served as 7-layer bean dip, chicken enchiladas, taco kits, and they could contain listeria. They were sold at several stores, including Trader Joe's, Costco, and Albertson. The CDC reports more than 60 cheeses and other dairy products are linked to the outbreak, ranging back to 2014. They say the outbreak caused more than 24 illnesses and 2 deaths. We'll keep you updated as consumers are urged to throw these products out immediately and clean surfaces they may have touched. Meantime, Disney is talking its collaboration with Fortnite to the next level. They announced plans this week to buy a $1.5 billion stake in the video game studio. According to the media giant, the deal kicks off a multi-year project seeking to create an expansive universe using characters and stories from Disney's various franchises. That includes Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel. Disney says the transaction is still subject to closing conditions and regulatory approval. We'll be right back here at Fox 45 Morning News. You're looking live at the Convention Center ahead of the Expo. The Be More Healthy Expo kicks off this morning at 10. We're already live inside the Convention Center leading up to that big ceremony. Stick with us. Meantime, former Governor Larry Hogan throwing his hat in the ring for a U.S. Senate seat. His views on the state's current crime legislation as he looks ahead to Washington.
And I am tracking some rain this weekend. I'll let you know when we have our highest chance for showers in a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you on this Saturday, February 10th. You're looking live right now over Towson, and it looks a little cloudy out there. But look, it's going to be a great day here in the city. Let's get to your forecast. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's get to your forecast, though. Meteorologist Amy Aronson, you're who we want to talk to today because the Be More Healthy Expo draws thousands of people.
Sure does.
And today, are they going to be walking through some rain to get there?
Little bit, not enough to stop you from going or cancel any plans today because we're also going to be in the 60s. So yes, we have some rain on the way. It's not a ton. Some spotty showers pushing in from the west, along with this, that mild air. Check out our numbers just west of here and south of here. Lots of 50s on the map. So all that stuff is also headed our way, along with our rain chance. So here's what to expect for your Saturday. Mostly cloudy. I would plan on some showers starting up around 11 a.m., taking us through the afternoon. Not a complete washout, though. And you can't beat these high temperatures in mid-February. We're talking low 60s today. All you need is a light jacket if you're heading downtown to the Baltimore Convention Center. Now, we do have a higher chance for rain come tomorrow. Coming up in 10 minutes, I'll break that chance down and also let you know the latest on our weather maker coming early next week, too. Taylor?
All sounds good, Amy.
So I'm here today to support the changes that need to be made to the juvenile reform. We think there are some good changes. All the state's attorneys in the state are supporting this change, and we think it'll make the juvenile system better.
Well, lawmakers in Annapolis gathered to review the Democrats' juvenile crime plan. Keep in mind here, for months, we've heard from prosecutors across the state who say the current juvenile crime laws need to change. Jeff Abel joins us with the key takeaways from the latest hearing.
A real tug-of-war is playing out here in the Senate today as senators decide whether those juvenile reforms passed 2 years ago need reforming themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Judicial Proceedings Committee.
We've seen gun crimes go up for kids over 220%.
Before a Senate committee today, state's attorneys describe the problem they can no longer prosecute.
The 12-year-old who walks into an Anne Arundel County school with a loaded gun, and all of a sudden we look at the law and we're like, oh, we can't do anything.
Members of the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee began considering Senate Bill 744, which rolls back many of the reforms the legislature passed 2 years ago. The bill allows juveniles under 13 to be prosecuted for certain firearm offenses, third-degree sexual abuse, animal abuse, and vehicular theft. It would also allow probation to be extended for juveniles from the current 6 months to 1 year.
And we're not rolling back everything in Senate Bill 744, but we're taking a look at some of the things we did and say, hey, this wasn't such a good idea.
Bills like this only punish our youth instead of addressing the root cause.
But opponents insist the bill is misguided and fails to provide services offenders desperately need.
The biggest issue, the biggest problem, programs and services for children who are in need of services. And that's our problem.
Because we don't have them anymore.
We understand the fear that is real and perceived. We understand the urgency to calm your constituents by doing something. However, expediency and righteousness are rarely achieved at the same pace.
The governor and other state leaders have endorsed the reforms, but not everyone seems convinced it's the right solution at the right time.
Kind of right-sizing this solution, and that's what this discussion's about.
It's important that we take a system that has never had difficulty incarcerating or over-incarcerating our children, and we really put our focus on a front-end intervention, diversion, lack of putting children into a system where we know that once that happens and the earlier it happens, that child is more likely to be in the system for a longer period of time.
A similar hearing was passed in the House yesterday. So far, no votes have been taken. Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
All right, let's continue our coverage here on this. Now, joining us, Delegate Lauren Arkand, who's a member of the House Judiciary Committee. And Delegate, you were part of that 10-hour hearing that took place on Thursday. What were your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, it was a long day, and most of our time, frankly, was spent on the speaker's bill. And look, I thought it was a good first step towards rolling back some of the really harmful policies that we put in place that made our city and our communities a lot less safe in terms of juvenile crime. But I didn't think it really went far enough, frankly. Some of the worst pieces of legislation that had moved caused police officers to be unable to question youth. So what's happening is that if we can't question them, none of them are really even getting charges. So our data is still lacking in how bad this problem really is, because a lot of these juveniles are never even seeing the inside of a police station.
I'm curious to know, do you think the legislation will pass? Should it? And why?
I believe some form of the legislation will pass, and the question is it going to be substantive? Is it going to have a real effect, at the community level in deterring some of these repeat juvenile offenders who are committing violent crimes every day? Is it going to deter them? And I don't know if a bill like that is going to pass. I know something will move. I just don't know what it will look like.
And, I think that's pretty much the big thing here is a lot of folks are saying they don't know what it will look like in terms of holding young people accountable. I'm curious, why do you think Democrats are more willing to be tough on juvenile crime when legislation on the Juvenile Justice Reform Act did not make it through the legislature last year? Has something changed?
I think the data is what's changed mostly. I mean, people are coming forward and they're so upset. Finally, there's been this really big uproar, like, we deserve better. We're the community. You're not just here to serve the perpetrators, which is frankly what it's felt like serving on the Judiciary Committee the last 6 cycles. It's felt like the criminal is the only person anybody cares about, and the victims have been completely sidelined. So the Republicans put in a bill to try and address more of the issues, including the problem with not being able to interrogate minor offenders. And we just need to keep pushing it until we get to the right sweet spot where our legislation matches the actual severity of the problem.
Final question here. It's become obvious, I think, on both sides of the aisle, people are seeing the issue. The solution, they're probably not seeing the same solution at hand. Do you think Democrats and Republicans can get to a place where they can agree on crime legislation that'll make our state safer?
Yeah, I assume that most Republicans will support any steps forward that we can take. I certainly want to see the Democrats and the Republicans succeed this year in moving something through. But I do think that it may take more than one a cycle to really get our teeth into this issue and figure out what's really going on. And the biggest issue to me is that the Department of Juvenile Services and Vincent Schiraldi were nowhere to be found. So I want to know, why did the governor not send his secretary there to talk to us? If this is our major issue this year, where was he?
We're going to leave it right there. Lauren Arkin, House Judiciary Committee Insight, we really appreciate it. We definitely would like to have you back for a more inside look at what's happening in Annapolis. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
We are tracking rain showers both days this weekend. I'll let you know when we have our highest chance for rain coming up. Plus, we'll talk about that next weather maker moving in Monday into Tuesday.
And a Christmas love triangle turns deadly, nearly at least. That's this week's Maryland's Most Wanted, just ahead. We're learning more about a love triangle that nearly turned deadly Christmas Day, and an accused sexual predator who was on the run has now been captured. Here's Lexa Ashwell with Maryland's Most Wanted.
Investigators say on Christmas, Isaac Abarca Diaz went to the home where his ex-wife and her new boyfriend were. The incident ending with shots fired and Abarca Diaz on the run.
December 25th, 2023, Northwest Baltimore. It's Christmas morning. A family is gathered inside of a home here on Bancroft Road in Northwest Baltimore's Glen community, when suddenly, according to investigators, a familiar face shows up. That familiar face identified as 39-year-old Isaac Abarca Diaz.
Diaz arrived to the home where his ex-wife and his ex-wife's boyfriend were.
Investigators say Abarca Diaz begins arguing with his ex-wife's new boyfriend. The argument quickly escalating.
The two men began arguing, then it turned physical down the stairwell.
According to investigators, the two men began wrestling in a backdoor stairwell. Abarca Diaz then pulling out a gun.
Diaz then pulls out a firearm, points it at the boyfriend of his ex-wife, and pulls the trigger 2 times.
I-34, I have a call coming off of Class of Help, 3905 Bancroft. It says they hear a female running on a block yelling for help.
Neighbors call 911 after hearing the gunshots and a woman's cry for help.
And now we're getting a call an assault in progress at 3911 Bancroft. All right, guys, it's turning into a discharge in 3911 Bancroft. Shots fired.
09, I'm en route.
Police respond.
The witnesses are saying they heard gunshots in the basement.
And find the victim in the basement.
Miraculously, the male victim isn't hit.
The bolts missed him.
House was clear.
Abarca Diaz had already fled the scene. Police put out a bolo.
All right, guys, if y'all see a gray car that's involved a Hispanic male with black clothing on, there's a female was stating that the father has a gun.
Abarca Diaz on the run and armed.
Diaz does have a criminal history, and Diaz does have violent tendencies within his criminal history. Anybody who is going to brandish a firearm and pull that trigger towards a subject or a witness or a victim needs to be off the streets. We can't have somebody running around with a firearm who's willing to use it.
Take a good look. Abarca Diaz stands at about 5'2" and weighs approximately 130 pounds. Investigators do warn he is known to have violent tendencies. If you have any information regarding his whereabouts, you're asked to contact the U.S. Marshals Service, the tip line number 1-877-WANTED-2. Or you can contact agents directly at 202-819-5058. Update. A Baltimore man accused of forcing himself onto a woman as she slept has been captured. Last summer, Thomas Jones was featured on Maryland's Most Wanted. Fugitive was wanted for 3 sex offenses, including second-degree rape and assault charges for an incident that occurred back in April 2023. Investigators say police located Jones on West Lexington Street in West Baltimore and took him into custody. Jones is due in court next month. If you recognize any of our fugitives, remember you can always remain anonymous and you could earn a reward. I'm Alexa Ashwell, and this is Maryland's Most Wanted.
And just ahead, new 911 audio in the Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers' domestic assault investigation. Stick with us here at Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
This Fox 45 News segment is sponsored by GBMC.
Fox 45 News in partnership with GBMC Healthcare. We're presenting the 15th annual Be More Healthy Expo. It opens in less than an hour, the opening ceremony in like 30 minutes. And with that, GBMC Healthcare is offering information and resources for all ages. And we're joined right now by Kelly Trax, patient interventionist with GBMC SAFE program. Kelly, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So much being offered today. What are you guys offering? What kind of resources can people come out and meet you guys to gather?
Today we're going to be offering a lot of resources from our program, the Sexual Assault Forensic Examination Program at GBMC. We love this event. It's one of our favorites that we come out to. We are going to be handing out resources about our program, but also providing resources about our community partners and things that they offer. We also love to give away free books, free healthy snacks. We have apples and bananas, granola bars, applesauce, and we also have free toys that we'll be handing out to attendees.
Oh, that's awesome. What else are you guys doing at today's event? Why is it so important that you guys come out every year? I mean, this is the 15th annual Be More Healthy Expo.
It's just so important to come down. It's a wonderful event. There are so many resources here that are provided to the attendees about, throughout the community. It's valuable information that sometimes we don't get to see in our everyday lives.
Yeah. What else is happening at the GBMC booth today?
We have our stroke center that is here. We have our primary care offices. We have our breast center that is registering attendees for mammograms. We have our primary care offices. And we also have a wonderful interactive activity that's right in the center of our booth where you can come and make a positivity jar. We know how often that mental health is overlooked. This is a great way where you can pick out some positive affirmations, decorate that jar, and carry around that positivity with you all day long.
Oh, I love it. Kelly, GBMC always has quite the spread, so much to offer each year, and it looks like that is no different this year. Thank you so much, Kelly. I'll see you out there later today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. We invite you to join us down there for the Be More Healthy Expo today at the Baltimore Convention Center. It's free. You've got health screenings, mental health resources, cooking, dance demonstrations. There's something for the entire family. And of course, you can meet your favorite Fox 45 News personalities. Again, the Be More Healthy Expo starts in about 40 minutes here, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. this afternoon. And it's probably a really good day for it because we're looking at the 60s today. 50s meteorologist Amy Aarons is actually, she knows for sure. Mm-hmm. It's nice outside.
Yeah, I mean 60s in mid-February. You can't beat that, right? And who cares if it comes with a little bit of rain? That's not a big deal. We've got a few showers showing up around midday, not enough to stop you from heading down to the Baltimore Convention Center for the Health Expo. We've got temperatures near 50 to start, upper 50s around midday, and then as that wraps up, low 60s. Perfect excuse to take a walk maybe in downtown Baltimore today. Looks pretty quiet there right now at the entrance of the Baltimore Convention Center, but with that kicking off at 10 a.m., I have a feeling it's going to get pretty busy soon. At mid-60s, that's where we're headed today. A nice mild start to the weekend, kind of like yesterday. We are tracking some showers today and tomorrow. Tomorrow comes with the higher risk, and then rainy, windy, and actually kind of chilly for the start of a brand new week. Here's our first batch of showers just west of here. You can see they are streaming our direction. Not in sight just yet on this nice close-up view. We've just got the clouds. The clouds, they're not going anywhere today. We remain cloudy through much of the afternoon with, I think, showers arriving shortly after 11 a.m. through the midday hours. We catch a break and then just some on and off showers this evening. At that point, temperatures make a run for the mid-60s. We do have another round of showers rolling in tomorrow morning around daybreak. Steadier rain for the first half of your Sunday. So if you're running errands tomorrow morning ahead of the big game, plan on rain at that point. Umbrellas will definitely be needed. Heading out to the big game somewhere, we're dry by Sunday evening. Little cooler, though. We are back in the more seasonable upper 40s. We do have showers in the forecast today. Not a ton of rain, light stuff right around midday, low 60s at that point. Tomorrow's definitely cooler. We're back in the upper 40s to near 50. Plus, we've got a higher chance for rain, especially for the first half of the day. Now let's talk about that next weather maker coming in Monday night. This one spreads in from the south and from the west Monday evening, starting off with a chilly rain, rainy and windy overnight Monday. On the backside of this system, yeah, we see some of that blue wraparound. That's a brief chance for some wet snow. I think accumulations will be minor from this system just because we have above freezing temperatures and it doesn't last long. Main concern for that is north of Baltimore, so Carroll County, northern Baltimore County over through Harford County. But once again, accumulations look pretty minor. I'm just going to show you one forecast model here to show you what I'm talking about. So you'll notice no snow at all through Monday. Tuesday morning rolls around, and yeah, we've got a little bit, just under an inch in a lot of spots. I think it's barely an inch, just some slushy stuff to wrap things up as that system departs Tuesday morning. Some minor impacts from that at this time. Otherwise, we've got rain showers likely Sunday morning, another round overnight Monday. Temperatures will be cooling down for Valentine's Day. We're back in the mid-40s on Wednesday, and then we stay dry for the second half of the week. Taylor?
All right, well, as we inch closer to the big game, Madden football is revealing their winner. Find out who they're picking to take the top spot ahead on Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. And elevate your hosting experience, and we're going to show you right how to. Up next, create the perfect menu for the big game. We've got a chef in studio who's going to whip up the perfect sides and Super Bowl food you can have. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all hungry, all good. Ooh, this is mouthwatering. Wow, we're back. We're back. When we think about the Super Bowl, we think about nachos, we think about sliders, wings. Whew. Those things are great, right? But if you're looking to step up your game, which I think a lot of us want to, why not do something that seems home cooked, right? All right, so with us this morning, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Anna Torres, you're the proprietor, and this is quite the spread.
Yes, so I'm the proprietor at the one in Pasadena, Maryland. It's a good way to have variety for your Super Bowl gathering or even March Madness coming up.
So we have a 3-course dinner we're talking about.
Yes, so we offer apps, we offer bundles, which you could do like an entree, side, and dessert. Salads included. There's a lot of good options. We can feed 10 to 10,000 people. We deliver to your house.
So what if someone's like, I like this idea, and I think I want to do this 3-course option. Walk me through how they would get this done. So would they start with a salad?
Yes, well, they start with an entree. Okay. So they can either if they do a perfect bundle, they start with an entree, and then we work it from salad to side to dessert.
Right.
So first they pick what they want. So if they want, I want a chicken brine, like one of our main dishes. And then they go from there. So they're like, I want a chicken brine. Then what side would you like?
Right.
They can do a penne pomo, which is one of our other featured main dishes.
I'm curious to know if someone wanted to do this at home. Let's just talk about this. Say this one more time.
Chicken brine.
The chicken brine is calling my name, and that'd be a really easy
delicious.
Super Bowl dish to, I feel like,
100%.
get the crowd going and just keep them glued on the TV. How do you start? Where do you start with this?
We usually, if you're doing it so if you're doing it the day of, we can even put like the tomatoes, the lemon butter on the side. That way you can just warm it up in the oven real quick and then put that so it's nice and fresh for your guests.
Ooh, okay. Where can we find you guys?
We are at the Carrabba's in Pasadena, Maryland. You can go online and order online or just call us directly.
Make your life easy, right?
Yes, I make your life easy.
I like it.
We deliver. Yes.
Oh, and you guys don't.
Yes.
Look, make your life easy. we reiterate that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here. Coming up in just a few, we have some consumer news about paying off debt. It's causing another kind of debt to spiral. We'll tell you which one. And President Joe Biden's fitness to serve being questioned following a recent press conference, the gaffe that has the nation talking.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over the Baltimore Convention Center. I see a few cars pulling up there. Well, it's going to be busy today on February 10th, this Saturday, the day of the Be More Healthy Expo. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's talk about your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. 60s in February, I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah, exactly. Typically, the Be More Healthy Expo has been in March, so maybe the weather's just feeling like March today for that. We are in for a treat. We've got upper 40s to near 50 to already start things off early on this Saturday morning, and these numbers will continue to warm. So maybe as you enjoy some coffee this morning, get ready, get dressed ahead to the Be More Healthy Expo. It's just mostly cloudy and pretty quiet. We're in the mid-50s by the end of the morning. By midday, I think that's when we are tracking a chance for some showers with temperatures nearing 60 at that point, and then only milder for the second half of the day. Coming up in 10 minutes, I will break our rain chances down in more detail for both today and then tomorrow, too. That's coming up in 10 minutes. Taylor?
All right, sounds good. Governor Wes Moore unveiled his state plan on Friday. It complements his budget and legislative agenda released last month. The plan focuses on 10 priorities, including ending child poverty, setting students up for success, making our communities safer. He also aims to create more affordable housing and make Maryland a leader in clean energy.
This cannot just be about funding numbers. That's not the only number that's going to matter. We need accountability. We need transparency. We need to see that things are working. Because the things that are working and the things that we are measuring, we then know how are we then gauging our efficacy.
Many critics have been wary of the governor's spending as the state faces a $1.8 billion budget deficit by the end of the decade. Now, one lawmaker is working to ensure the cost is not passed on to you, the taxpayer, without legislative approval. Fox 45's Keith Daniels has a closer look at the new bill.
For Delegate Nino Mangione, it's the first step, a hearing with the Ways and Means Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody, Madam Chair.
With that greeting comes a major move toward colossal change.
House Bill 484 lets the sun shine in on the revenue process.
The Republican from Baltimore County in Annapolis Thursday introducing House Bill 484, titled the Taxpayer Disclosure and Protection Act, a bill that would require legislative approval for any state tax or fee increase. Mangione's motivation, simple.
Well, it's to protect the taxpayer.
The delegate in his office with more on the proposed legislation.
This isn't some Fantasyland type bill that says you can't raise taxes. That's not what this says. This bill allows for tax increases. It allows for fee increases. If you're going to increase those tax or fees, you have to vote, and it cannot be done through basically bureaucracy.
As in the case, he says, with the Maryland gas tax, which is tied to inflation and is automatically increased without a vote from legislators.
Number one, it's about transparency.
Mangione's move comes as lawmakers return to Annapolis, with Maryland facing a $761 million shortfall. Last month, Governor Wes Moore released his $63.1 billion spending plan, a budget that contains no tax increases. Still, for Mangione, there's doubt when thinking about how the budget will be paid for without raising taxes.
Well, I believe the governor. I'll take him at his word, but we're still facing serious deficits, and we have to figure out how we're going to address them.
But for now, the push to get the bill passed.
And I think the most important part about this is it actually is a constitutional amendment. It would be brought to the people to decide yes or no here. And I bet you that the people of Maryland would overwhelmingly support government transparency when it comes to who raises their taxes and fees.
Well, that bill now moves to more readings in the House, at least two, and then it will move to the Senate for consideration. A passing vote from both chambers must happen before it becomes law.
And here's a look at our rain chances for the weekend. You'll notice the highest chance comes on Sunday and then again on Monday. I'll break down a more specific timeline of both weather makers in just a couple of minutes. It's 9:34. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Coming up this week on Full Measure, you might think the purpose of dictionaries is to explain the meanings of words. But today, they become tools used by activists to distort understood definitions and convince people to think differently. We'll dig into the process at work to change our language and shape the way we view the world. You may remember a lot of controversy over the Obama administration's nuclear deal with Iran, the country backing a host of Islamic extremist terrorist groups now mounting attacks in the Mideast. What's the current state of U.S. sanctions against Iran? Lisa Fletcher has the latest developments. Water is one of our most important and basic resources, now running in dangerously short supply in places like Arizona. And you might be surprised to learn how foreign thirst for American water is contributing to the shortage. Scott Thuman reports from the Grand Canyon State. All this week on Full Measure.
All right, an update now to an incident related to Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers. Baltimore County Police confirm they are, in fact, investigating alleged domestic assault at Flowers' home. Police say this happened in Owings Mills just before the AFC Championship game. Flowers has not been charged with a crime or named as a suspect, but new 911 audio shows what happened that day. Well, dispatchers sent 2 officers to Flowers' neighborhood for a welfare check. This was after getting a call from a woman who abruptly hung up the phone.
Female answered and was crying, so she didn't have an emergency but seemed in distress when she hung up the phone.
Results of that call are not clear. Fox 45 News requested inbound records from the Baltimore County Police Department, but they refused to give it to us, saying it's part of an open investigation. We spoke with State Delegate Ryan Naraki of Baltimore County, and he tells us the records should actually be available for public access. He says, quote, "I think in this case and cases that are similar to this, the legal basis and legal fines are clear that these records, that they should be open to the public." Now, Delegate Naraki, along with 6 other Maryland lawmakers, sent a letter to Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski demanding the release of that full 911 recording. Fox 45 News reached out to Zay Flowers as well as his agent for comment. We've not heard back. But this is a developing story, so make sure you stay up to date by following us online at foxbaltimore.com as well as here on air. Turning now to the White House as they defend President Biden's mental fitness after a special counsel report reinforced concerns some voters already expressed about his memory. This investigation found the report examined the president's handling of those classified documents and resulted in no criminal charges. National correspondent Audra Allen-Shaw reports on the political fallout.
Let me say a few things before.
A visibly angry President Biden defending his conduct and mental fitness Thursday night.
I'm well-meaning and I'm an elderly man and I know what the hell I'm doing.
Special counsel Robert Hur, a Trump-appointed former U.S. attorney, declined to seek criminal charges but delivered a scathing indictment of the president's mental acuity that may take a heavy political toll during an election year. Mr. Biden's memory was significantly limited, the report said, and he did not remember even within several years when his son Beau died.
How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business.
Later, when asked about the crisis in Gaza, he called the president of Egypt the president of Mexico.
The president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate.
Republicans quick to go after the president, some calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked and remove him from office, ramping up attacks on the president's age that started long before Hur's report.
He can't put 2 sentences together. He can't find the stairs off a stage.
Trump has made gaffes confusing Nikki Haley for Nancy Pelosi, confusing Hungary and Turkey. Why is the mental acuity narrative so much more on Biden?
I think part of it is that Trump is just known for this sort of like word salad. And so it's almost just like it's maybe less notable that he does that.
Political analyst Kyle Kondik says given concerns about his age, the president should do more public appearances through the November election. 76% of voters said they have concerns about Biden not having the mental and physical health for a second term, according to a recent NBC News poll.
The only way you reassure people as to whether you're, with it and capable of doing the job is to actually be out there.
For Democrats worried about holding on to the White House in November, the report and the president's response adds to their anxiety. In Washington, I'm Audra Allen-Shaw reporting.
Coming up in your consumer news, multiple products recalled for a listeria outbreak. We'll tell you about the outbreak that the CDC says began 8 years ago. And look at this, we are live inside that Be More Healthy Expo. We're taking you into the opening ceremony just ahead. Stick with Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. All right, let's go ahead and get another look at your forecast here. Amy Aronson, meteorologist Amy Aronson. The 30% chance is what we're working with today, but tomorrow,
more of a chance.
More of a chance for some rain.
Yeah, sure works out with everything happening this weekend. Today, not a huge chance for rain. We will enjoy some nice mild temperatures. Tomorrow, a higher chance for rain, especially for the first half of the day, and much cooler temperatures too. So we've got a little bit of everything this weekend. Today starts off dry. I think it's around midday. We see that little batch of showers scoot its way on through. Not a huge deal. High temperatures will be in the very spring-like mid-60s again today with some on and off showers this evening. Tomorrow, rain chances increase. You'll notice we get this steady batch of light rain starting around daybreak, taking us through the rest of the morning tomorrow. If you're running errands ahead of the big game, you're going to want to have an umbrella, a rain jacket with you. That batch of showers doesn't wrap up until late in the afternoon. After that, we are dry by Sunday evening. Temperatures are much cooler, though, back in the upper 40s. And that's kind of where we're starting off your Saturday morning. Not bad, cloudy, but still comfortable. Mid and upper 40s, low 50s across the region now. If you are heading to the Baltimore Convention Center for the Be More Healthy Expo today, I'd throw on a light rain jacket. You're not going to need a heavy jacket. Temperatures will be in the low 60s, and we do have that chance for rain showing up right around midday and then some on and off showers this evening. But they wrap up early, so for date night plans tonight ahead of Valentine's Day next week, you're in good shape. Mostly cloudy and comfortable again with temperatures in the upper and mid 50s. A cool down is coming early next week. We're back close to 50 on Monday. And then on Tuesday, much cooler, upper 30s and low 40s. And that comes with a new weather maker. Chilly rain expected to push in overnight Monday. So we start off pretty soggy Monday night. And then as the system wraps out of here, that colder air pushes in and it's cold enough for some wet flakes. I think mainly north of Baltimore, some slushy wet flakes there. Temperatures will be at or above freezing. So minimal accumulations and minimal impacts expected from that. And we are dry by Wednesday for Valentine's Day. So here's a look at everything happening over the next 7 days. For the Be More Healthy Expo today, we're in good shape. Some spotty showers, temperatures in the mid-60s. And then tomorrow, a higher chance for rain, and temperatures are much cooler. We're back in the low 50s. Another weather maker comes in late Monday into Tuesday. We wrap up with some wet flakes because of that system. Taylor?
The road to the big game is sponsored by Royal Farms.
All right, look, it's almost time for that big game, which means another edition of the biggest sports simulation video game in the world. Madden is once again making its prediction for the big game as the video game has officially done predictions since 2012. They've been right about half the time. Last year, they weren't right. Madden predicted the Philadelphia Eagles would beat Kansas City 31-17. The actual results of that game were 38-35, with the Chiefs coming out on top. This year's simulation has the Chiefs taking it over the 49ers in a nail-biting 30-28 victory. We are still going to have to wait till Sunday, though, for the real results. Speaking of Sunday, take a look at this time lapse of crews getting ready at Allegiant Stadium. This is the first time Vegas is hosting the big game, and you can see that grass being wheeled into the stadium. If you remember last year, there were issues with the field in Arizona, as those conditions were an issue for the players who complained they just did not have enough time to get ready on a soggy field. The 49ers are taking issue with their practice field as well, saying the surface could cause some problems again this year. A recall of dairy products with potential listeria contamination is expanding to other foods. The FDA says products produced by Rio Lopez Foods, such as 7-layer bean dip, their chicken enchiladas, and their taco kits, could contain listeria. The products were sold at several stores, including Trader Joe's, Costco, and Albertson. The CDC reports more than 60 cheeses and other dairy products are linked to the outbreak. It ranges back to 2014, they say, and it's caused more than 24 illnesses since it began. CDC also reporting 2 deaths. Consumers are urged to throw out these products immediately and clean off any surface it may have touched. Well, the year of the dragon left the fire behind, and the rings brought in some cold with it today for today's festivities. Locals in Beijing gathered at the Taoist temple and happily welcomed in the Lunar New Year. Folk artisans wore costumes, they performed traditional dances, and demonstrated martial arts, spring stilts, and other acrobatics. Now, locals willingly endured some really chilly temperatures to get out there today to enjoy China's biggest holiday in a normal way. Large-scale public events like temple fairs were called off in Beijing for the past 4 years due to the coronavirus pandemic. We are just moments away from the opening ceremony of the Be More Healthy Expo, and we've been giving you sneak peeks all morning as many of our very own are there as we speak. Let's go ahead and listen in to the opening as it gets underway.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala from Fox 45 News. So great to see you all out here. I want to welcome you to the 15th annual Be More Healthy Expo. As so many of you know, it is a day filled with fitness, family, fun, food, some dancing, music. It's just a great day.
I'm Megan Gillen, co-anchor Fox 45 Morning News. We're so excited that you guys are here to be more healthy, to take the next steps in your life. And Mary mentioned some of the exciting things behind these doors. Just to name a few, guys, we've got some free Expo features, more than 20 free health screenings, 200 exhibitors. We've got fitness workouts. We've got dance performances, lessons, rock climbing, guys. There's rock climbing in there. We've got cooking lessons, an expungement clinic and resources fair, a health equity living with diabetes zones, and so much more. Mary, I just named a few of them.
I know. And I know I see some familiar faces out there. I know many of you have been here before. Hello. But there's always something new at the Expo. A community art project this year that you can participate in. So you've got to check that out. Make sure you walk around and find that. Health equity to help you connect with programs and people. Hands-only CPR training. That's huge to learn that. They're going to teach you that today. Stop the bleed training with shock trauma. We've done stories on it. It's a tourniquet. It's fascinating. It's really important to know. Also, you can register to become an organ, eye, tissue, or a bone marrow donor. You can help save lives by registering today. It's really easy to do.
And something when you walk through the doors, your nose is going to tell you that there is a cooking stage, and I can tell you there's usually some free samples on those healthy cooking demos there. Learn a few dance moves at the dance stage, always a good time. Get up, get moving. We've got the main stage as well. All of this is possible. All of those things Mary and I have been discussing, they are possible because of our wonderful exhibitors and our sponsors as well. Huge, huge applause to them. A special thanks to our presenting sponsors, GBMC Healthcare. Woo! And Johns Hopkins University in Medicine. And now is the time. Are you guys ready? It is time to begin our journey to health, to wellness, with your family, with your friends. We're going to be more healthy today and in the days to come.
That's right. I'd like to have Fox 45's GM, Billy Robbins, come up here with me, as well as representatives from GBMC Healthcare and Maria Paris-Tilden from Johns Hopkins University in Medicine. We're going to cut the ceremonial ribbon, so maybe we can go a little closer. Billy has the scissors there. And we're going to do it on a 3 count, okay? 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome to the 2024 Be More Healthy Expo. And folks, we have got the Marching Elite Foundation and Drumline Dance Team to lead us in. Let's go!
Oh, how exciting. And look at the band. Oh, man. Well, what a day it's going to be here at the Be More Healthy Expo. We invite you to join us there at the convention center. It's already started. There's going to be free health screenings, cooking, dance demonstrations. You just heard Mary and Megan explain all of the activities and festivities and opportunities today to get involved. It starts at 10, but you can see folks are already getting inside excited. It ends at 4 o'clock today. There will be plenty of people, plenty out there. Come meet us.
It's 9:56 on Be More Healthy Expo Day. Decent day ahead of us. Mid-60s, some spotty showers around midday. Higher chance for rain comes through tomorrow. We're cooling it down. And then a new weather maker moves in, sending us some rain late Monday, wrapping up with a mix of rain and, yes, some snow showers early Tuesday. Doesn't look like much in terms of accumulation, but certainly noteworthy there. And then after that, it's dry for Valentine's Day. You see I have that little heart thrown on there Wednesday, and we stay dry for the second half of the week and more seasonable too. So if you're a fan of this little taste of spring, take advantage of it today.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I'm sure folks who are going to the Health Expo today, Be More Healthy Expo,
makes it easier to get down there.
Love it. Thanks for joining us here at Fox 45 Morning News. We are heading down to the Be More Healthy Expo. We'll meet you down there. Enjoy the rest of your day.